Imagine sitting in a dimly lit room, the smell of herbs and smoke thick in the air, as a man with a rusty blade looms over you, ready to yank out your aching tooth. No anesthesia, no sterilization, just raw, medieval grit. Could you handle it? That's right, we're diving into the terrifying world of medieval dentistry, where pain was the price of a smile, and the tools would make your skin crawl. Did they really pull teeth with pliers meant for horseshoes? Were barbers doubling as dentists? And what insane remedies did they use to cure a toothache? Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll either be horrified or amazed at how people survived a trip to the medieval dentist. Let's jump right in. Picture this. It's the year 1300, and your tooth is throbbing so bad you can't eat, sleep, or think. Today, you'd pop an ibuprofen and book a dentist appointment. But back then, you're at the mercy of a medieval tooth puller who might be the same guy cutting your hair or shoeing your horse. Dentistry wasn't a profession as we know it. Most dental work was done by barbers, blacksmiths, or self-proclaimed healers who learned through trial and error, mostly error. The idea of a clean, white-coated dentist's office? Pure fantasy. Instead, you're likely in a cramped market stall or a smoky tavern, surrounded by onlookers as your dentist prepares to fix your problem. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Have you ever had a dental experience that made you wince just thinking about it? Drop it in the comments. I want to know how you'd fare in the Middle Ages. The tools these medieval practitioners used were straight out of a horror movie. Forget sleek drills or numbing shots. Their toolkit included crude pliers, chisels, and even repurposed blacksmith tools. One popular instrument was the dental pelican, a metal contraption shaped like a bird's beak, used to wrench teeth out of your jaw. No precision, just brute force. If the tooth didn't come out clean, they'd chip away at it with a hammer and chisel, often breaking the tooth into pieces or, worse, fracturing your jaw. Sterilization? Not a thing. That pelican might have been used on a dozen other patients, or to fix a wagon wheel, before it touched your mouth. Infections were so common that surviving the procedure was sometimes a bigger miracle than fixing the tooth. Makes you wonder, if you had to pick one medieval dental tool to face, which would it be? Let me know below, and let's see who's brave enough to choose the pelican. But it wasn't just the tools that made medieval dentistry terrifying. It was the pain. Anesthesia didn't exist in the modern sense. Some lucky patients might get a swig of strong ale or a dose of herbal concoctions like henbane or mandrake, which could dull the senses or knock you out. But these were risky. Too little, and you're screaming through the procedure. Too much, and you might not wake up at all. Most people just gritted their teeth, literally, and endured the agony. Imagine the courage it took to sit there, knowing every tug could be pure torture. Stories from the time describe patients fainting from pain or being held down by assistants while the tooth puller worked. Yet people kept going back. Why? Because a bad tooth could kill you. An untreated infection could spread to your jaw, your blood, even your heart. So, what's the worst pain you've ever felt? Could it compare to a medieval tooth extraction? Share your story in the comments. I'm curious. Now let's talk about what caused all these dental disasters in the first place. Medieval diets were rough on teeth. The wealthy ate sugary treats like honeyed fruits, which rotted their teeth faster than you'd expect. The poor? They were grinding down their molars on coarse bread filled with grit from stone mills. Both groups faced tooth decay, abscesses, and gum disease, but dental care wasn't exactly accessible. Brushing your teeth? Not common. Some used twigs or cloths to scrub their teeth, and the elite might use pastes made of sage or salt, but these were more about fresh breath than preventing cavities. Toothpicks were popular, though, Archaeologists have found medieval skeletons with grooves in their teeth from aggressive toothpick use. Still, decay was rampant, and when a tooth went bad, you didn't have many options. Have you ever tried a natural dental remedy, like oil pulling or charcoal toothpaste? Let's hear about it below. Did it work, or was it a medieval-level fail? So, what did people do before things got so bad they needed a tooth pulled? Medieval remedies for toothaches were, let's call them, creative. One popular fix was to burn herbs like rosemary or cloves near the aching tooth, believing the smoke would drive out evil humors. Others swore by amulets. Think a rabbit's foot or a saint's relic, tied around the neck to ward off pain. Then there were the truly wild treatments, like applying a paste of ground worms or pigeon dung to the tooth. Yes, you heard that right. Dung. The logic? It was thought to draw out the infection. Spoiler, it didn't. Some healers even recommended chanting spells or praying to Saint Apollonia, the patron saint of toothaches, whose own teeth were smashed during her martyrdom. These remedies sound insane today, but back then, people were desperate. If you could only use one medieval toothache cure, which would you try? Drop your pick in the comments. I'm betting no one's choosing the pigeon dung. As we move deeper into this world, let's explore the people performing these procedures. Barbers were the go-to dental experts because they already had sharp tools and steady hands from shaving beards. By the 13th century, barber surgeons were an official guild in Europe, trained to do everything from bloodletting to amputations. And yes, pulling teeth. In England, you'd find them in bustling market towns, their red and white poles symbolizing blood and bandages, a sign of their trade. But not every tooth puller was a barber. Wandering tooth drawers roamed the countryside, setting up stalls at fairs with gruesome displays of extracted teeth to attract customers. These guys were part showmen, part healers, often using music or storytelling to distract patients from the pain. Imagine a medieval dentist hyping up the crowd like a modern-day influencer. Wild, right? Have you ever been to a dentist who made you feel at ease, or one who freaked you out? Share your experience below. Let's see if anyone's met a modern barber surgeon. The procedures themselves were a mix of skill, luck, and sheer audacity. A simple extraction was the most common fix, but if the tooth was too rotten, things got messy. Some practitioners would drill into the tooth with a hand-cranked bow drill. Think of a tiny woodworking tool boring into your molar. Others used hot irons to cauterize infections, searing the gum to kill the pain. In rare cases, the wealthy could afford crude fillings made of beeswax or lead, but these often did more harm than good. Lead, as you can guess, wasn't exactly tooth-friendly. And here's a chilling detail. Many patients didn't just lose a tooth. They lost several, as tooth pullers often yanked healthy teeth to prevent future problems. Talk about overkill. If you had to live in the Middle Ages, would you risk a visit to one of these dentists or just live with the pain? Let me know in the comments. I'm dying to hear your take. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. Some medieval dental practices laid the groundwork for modern dentistry. By the late Middle Ages, scholars like Guy de Chauliac, a French surgeon, were writing detailed texts on dental care. His 1363 book, Chirurgia Magna, described tooth extractions, jaw fractures, and even early orthodontics, like using wires to straighten teeth. In monasteries, monks studied anatomy and experimented with herbal remedies that actually worked, like clove oil, which we still use today for its numbing properties. These early pioneers faced a tough crowd. Superstition and ignorance often trumped science, but their efforts pushed dental knowledge forward. Makes you wonder, what's one modern dental tool you're grateful for? Drop it in the comments and let's give a shout out to the tech that saves us from medieval misery. Now, let's zoom out and think about why this matters. Medieval dentistry wasn't just about teeth, it was about survival. A bad tooth could mean starvation if you couldn't chew, or death if an infection spread. People endured these terrifying procedures because they had no choice. It's a stark reminder of how far we've come, from pliers and pigeon dung to laser dentistry and laughing gas. But it also shows the resilience of our ancestors, who faced pain and fear head-on. Next time you're in the dentist's chair, maybe give a nod to those medieval peasants who survived the pelican and the bow drill. They were tougher than we'll ever know. So, here's a challenge. If you could ask a medieval dentist one question, what would it be? Pop it in the comments. I'd love to see what you come up with. As we wrap up, let's recap the wild ride we've been on. Medieval dentistry was a world of rusty tools, no anesthesia, and remedies that could make you gag, like pigeon dung or groundworms. Barbers and tooth drawers wielded pliers and chisels, pulling teeth in front of cheering crowds. Pain was a given, infections were a gamble, and yet people kept showing up, driven by the need to survive. From the dental pelican to St. Apollonia's prayers, every detail of this era is a mix of horror and fascination. And yet, those early healers laid the foundation for the comfy dental chairs we take for granted today. So, what's the craziest thing you learned about medieval dentistry? Drop it in the comments and let's keep this conversation going. Before you go, hit that like button if you're grateful for modern dentistry, and smash that subscribe button for more dives into the wild history of the Middle Ages. Share this video with a friend who hates the dentist. They'll never complain again after hearing this. And if you want to know more about medieval life, like how they survived freezing winters or through the wildest festivals, let me know in the comments. I've got plenty more stories to tell. Don't miss the next video. You won't believe what's coming. See you in the comments, and let's keep exploring the past together.